you still wonky? Oh my God, it's raining. Hang on, I have an umbrella set up, hang on. Now, this doesn't keep me out the rain just as of yet, but it keeps you guys out of it, so that's the important thing. If it starts to get heavy, I'll switch myself around. Hello everybody. I step outside when there is supposed to be no rain today, and it starts raining. Hello, how are you all? I don't know what this is, but I've had this idea in mind for a little while of basically just sitting and talking to the camera and just, standing. I'm standing at the moment. I do have legs. As much as people don't think I have legs, I do have legs. So this is something that's been on my mind for a while, and this is actually partly why I created a second channel. It wasn't just for gaming stuff and all that shenanigans. It was just to be able to do what I wanted, really, whether it be some art vids, drawing stuff, Lego vids, whatever it may be. I thought today, as I need to do some pruning of houseplants and all that jazz, I would show you that and just sit and talk to the camera while I do so. So that's what we're doing today. It wasn't supposed to rain, but it is now. I have you currently on my workbench that I built under an umbrella. The problem is this workbench is itself very level, but the decking that I'm standing on and the tilt makes it not level. So you are currently balanced on a small piece of stone that's making you like this. So hopefully I don't knock that over, but here we go. Do I look okay? I don't know. This is what we're going with. So if you were here when I did my arcane reactions, which would have been coming up for a year ago in November, which is kind of crazy, you would know that in the background of the shots, along with the Lego cars, that there is some orchids and some flowers, and these are said orchids. Now, one was white with pink specks, the other was purple with sort of white flecks in it, and then the other was a miniature, a yellow miniature, and I'm pretty sure this is the miniature one. And these were the other two large varieties. These are the other two large varieties. And basically, they need repotting. So this one here has, let me just make sure you can see. We're basically just gonna pull this out and repot it. I'm gonna get my little tray first. And just make it nice and snug so it's gonna grow okay. But these are three that I kept from, I got one of these for my birthday in September last year, and then the other two I got in the autumn and the winter, and I've kept them all, and they're still very healthy, and will probably go and reflower again probably in 2026. So I want to make sure I take care of them, make sure they're okay. Right, let me go and get my little tray. Hang on. I can't believe this is the end of September, and it genuinely feels like it's November. You mean you need a hoodie on and stuff, and your hands would get cold if you was to work out for too long. And about a week ago it was like bright sunshine. Forgive, I don't know how I look right now, but it's a Sunday. I don't ever try too hard on a Sunday. This is like, oh, it's got quite a healthy core around it as well, as you can see there. Oh. There you go. So I'm going to leave that pretty much intact and just break that up a little bit. And I'm going to grab some stones to put at the bottom, because then I can have better drainage for this. Stones, done. Also, I said to you guys, I was thinking of doing this video, I said to you guys anything you want me to talk about, and it included, mainly from Dan, thanks Dan, stuff that should be illegal but somehow isn't, overrated things everyone pretends to love, the dumbest thing you've argued about and still think you were right, celebrities you irrationally dislike for no reason, weird internet rabbit holes you've gone down at 2 AM, pet peeves that make you question humanity, and your villain origin story. Thank you, Dan. Patch also jumped on the back of it and said, I really want to hear a villain origin story. Thank you, Patch. Appreciate that. Funny, interesting facts you've heard about certain plant species. Oh, these are quite good. Okay, I can go through these one by one. I want to make sure I get this replanted first, and then I will go through those. Right, let's clear out these old roots. Put this. I actually think needs to create a bit more space, actually. This pot might be a bit small for it. Do I get a bigger pot? Maybe I do. Let me see if I've got a bigger pot. I don't have a bigger pot. This will have to do. We're just going to have to go with this, it seems. Also, I have no idea what my neighbour's doing. In case this is being picked up and you can hear like a whirring noise in the background, I don't know what that is. It's not like a lawnmower, he's never made this noise before, so we're just going to have to go with it. Hopefully it's not too annoying. Consider it part of the ambience. That's what I like to do. Right, let's put all this in here. This is way too small for it, really. It could do with a much, much bigger pot, but for now, this is what we're going to go with. Because I will probably repot these, probably in the spring. So like 6 months or so from now-ish. And this should be fine in the meantime. Either way, it holds it in here a little bit more. And then I will dunk these in water in a little bit and show you how I water my orchids. Because orchids need a lot of water. So the way these plants grow naturally, I mean, this is like a genetically modified version of an orchid that's made for commercial use, right, in terms of house plants and stuff. But the way these grow naturally is they sit in the sort of the gaps within trees and the holes that are made either by animals or just by nature. And they basically just like to live in a very humid environment. So they really get most of their water and the fluids they need through just the hydration that is accumulating inside of the bark. So the condensation, essentially, right? They just pick up on the water that's around it and absorb it that way. So you can keep an orchid damp all the time and it will be fine. What it doesn't like is sitting in too much water. So if it's sitting in a pool of water, that's when you start to get root rot. Keep it damp is fine. So you actually want to water these plants enough so they don't dry out. So I've actually left mine a little bit too long, but they should be okay because they do bounce back as long as you just make sure to take care of them in the long run, they're fine. But that's basically how they usually cope, is just through absorbing the condensation that builds up on the inside of the tree. There's not enough humidity inside of a house that would usually be in its natural environment. You just have to keep the inside of the pot moist, and then that mimics the environment that it has in nature. So I will show you how I water my orchids in a little bit. This isn't perfect and it's still a little bit loose in there, but that'll be fine for now. That's that one done. Right, now let's do the others. Shall I answer one of your questions? Stuff that should be illegal but somehow isn't. Illegal is a strong word, but I do think there is this, there's this idea that like sugary drinks or highly caffeinated drinks are perfectly safe, and I don't think they are. Do I think they should be illegal? No. But do I think they should be widely available to teenagers and children? No. I mean, I know like caffeinated drinks aren't, but there is nothing really stopping a child from going and buying extortionate amounts of sugar in sweets, and I think that's a problem. But then there's nothing stopping adults from doing it, and that doesn't really help either. So I don't know. It's not something I think should be illegal, but I don't think it's particularly good for anyone if it's too readily available. Overrated things everyone pretends to love. I was going to say getting drunk. Or the idea of just being so celebratory that you're just enjoying everything to the point where you don't know where you are. I just think everyone's like, yeah, let's go out and get pissed. And it's like, but do you really enjoy it? Like, really? I don't know. I'm not someone who's ever got drunk. I'm not completely boring, don't worry. I don't, there's certain things people will, like, rave about. Like, I take, like, concerts and festivals. Do you really love them, or are you so off your face that you can tolerate it? You know what I mean? I don't know. I get it, but at the same time, I don't get it. So, anyway, this is quite interesting. I've never seen this before. It's got like a centre. They've put, like, a centre of, like, straw or something in this orchid when I bought it. Usually it's just this stuff, you know, like the bark, which is obviously to mimic its natural environment. I've never seen this before. How bizarre. I'll keep it there because it seems to like it, so that's all good. Again, these pots are a little bit too small, but they will do for now. Have I got any bigger ones over here? Bear with me, I'm going to go to my pot stash. That's not what you think it is. No, I really don't have any. I really don't have any at all. Why does this makes my forehead look so big. I mean, it is big, but it makes it look so big. This lighting is not good for me. Okay, I don't, so we're just gonna have to go with this and fit whatever we can in here, which is gonna be a tight squeeze. But hey, there's worse situations this plant could be in. Oh, there's a new message. Celebrities you irrationally dislike for no good reason. You know someone, and I'm not just saying this because at the moment it's probably a trendy thing to do, is shit on this person, but I always found Ryan Reynolds, he was always nice, but it always felt performative. Like, he'd go on late night and it was like he knew what he was going to say. You know what I mean? But then I did also like enjoy some of his movies, so I don't want to say I hate him, but I always sort of, certain celebrities, they'll talk and I'm like, are you really like that? I mean, none of them are really like that, but hate's a strong word, but always been a bit wary of when everyone else adored him. Don't know, there was always something off about it. Now, I don't even know if I've done a good job of this, because this is a real tight squeeze for this poor little guy. I really should have got some bigger pots, shouldn't I? I mean, like I say, it's to give it a space for the winter to keep growing and stuff. And then in the spring I'm going to get some bigger pots, and I might even put these all in a display of, like, together, you know. I think that might look quite cool. But we'll see. It's okay for now. That'll do. Not perfect, and the roots are still a little bit too exposed for my liking. But again, the main thing is not letting sunlight get to these, and because I have these pots that they fit in, I need to get one for that one, it won't be a problem. So actually, it's not too bad. Although, if you wasn't to have a pot like this, you don't want this where the light can get to the roots, because that also encourages a bit of root rot and some other problems. But in there, that's fine. Right, final one. Weird internet rabbit holes you've gone down. I mean, probably some that I can't talk about on here, because they're too conspiracy-like, but what can I talk about? I mean, I like sort of alternate history or dangerous history or anything along those lines. What was I remember really being interested in learning about the Romans, and there was something, I believe it was 54 AD, and it was called the Sack of Rome, and sack is short for ransack, and it was basically the Visigoths charging upon Rome, the centre of the Roman Empire, and basically taking pretty much everything, all the gold and the silver and a hell of a lot of religious artefacts and all that kind of jazz. And it's never really been found. It's probably in today's money around $1 billion worth of gold, and there's plenty of priceless stuff that would be in there too that was taken. And they don't really know where it is. There is I'm not quite sure where it is, but it's somewhere along, I believe it's called the Bicento River, or the Bicento River in Italy. There is like a monument, basically, for King Alaric, who was the leader of the Visigoths. And they believe that the treasure was buried with him because he died as they were heading down from Rome, and they were going to go to North Africa, and they were going to cut off the wheat supply, and they never got there. But that was their plan, to basically ruin the Roman Empire. And he died on the way back, King Alaric, and they don't know how he died. They don't know if he was murdered. They don't know if he fell ill. They don't know what happened. And what the hell is that? Bear with me, there's something weird in my orchid and I'm terrified it's a spider. Please don't be a spider. I don't think it's a spider. Okay, that's fine. And they think the treasure is buried with him, but the treasure's never been found. And my sort of theory and where I went down was there was a lot of cults around the Roman Empire and the Roman military. King Alaric was even part of the Roman military, and was it all essentially what we would call an inside job? Was it planned? And then the whole sort of plan became ruined when Alaric died. But was the plan really that the money would never really leave the Roman Empire, even if it left Rome? And that was something that I got hooked on for a good few weeks, and I just really wanted to learn about everything to do with it. I just had to call my dad and ask him where he put the pruners, because he moves everything and then doesn't tell me. Honestly, looks like a tarantula. That is fucking terrifying. Hello. You can just put there. It's fine. Do you have any larger pots? Because that's too... See, this really is the size of pot that you would usually want. So something a little bit bigger where you can fit all the dirt down the sides. But it's what we've got to work with right now, so that's fine. Where'd I put my phone? Oh, it's over there. That's good enough. I'm going to trim that leaf. So basically, as new ones grow up here, these ones will start to die and fall off, so that the plant could put more energy into the new ones, and then eventually a big stem that will come out of here and then have flowers on it. So as you can see, this is beginning to peel off, so all I'm going to do is just encourage that along and give it a snip. There we go. And then when that one starts to go yellow and begin to sort of tire a little bit, I'll do the same with that. These other ones are okay. pretty sure. This one is okay. And this one, this is okay too, I think, though I will trim this one because I think it will just help me to be able to push this bit down like that. As you can see, this will be the next leaf to go. Maybe, you know what, I'm going to try something. So, take that away and let it put some more energy into these ones and see how it does. That's what I'll do. Right, questions. Also, sorry for the noise, I just checked. My neighbour is trimming the brambles. And to be honest, brambles are very annoying, so I don't blame them. Pet peeves that make you question humanity. Pet peeves. Honestly, just incompetence. Incompetence without a want to learn or fill that gap of lack of information. That's an annoying thing. People that just don't care to learn about anything, you know? You know when you can just... Someone who doesn't seem to have any curiosity in life to want or learn anything at all. I find that a pet peeve. I just find it a bit weird, personally. My villain origin story. Am I a villain? Maybe I am a villain. My villain origin story. Do we talk about the arcane reactions? Alternatively, the intricacies of pruning and other gardening tips would be perfectly appropriate. Well, I think I'm doing that right now. The orchids are done, so these are going to be watered in a bit. I'll show you how I water everything at the end. Interesting facts you've heard about certain plant species. The main thing with orchids, like I've mentioned before, is they just live in tree trunks. Like, they're really a parasitic plant. They're a symbiotic plant, so they just live off of other plants, which I found really cool. An orchid has become a very high fashion trend in terms of flowers and plants and houseplants, but it's a parasite plant, which is quite funny to me. So probably that, technically. Unsuspecting gardening tools that you find really useful in gardening. I'm yet to find one at the moment, Fernie, but if I do, I for sure will let you know. I plan to, at some point, have some raised beds over there in the garden and grow some vegetables. So maybe that would be something I venture into the spring, and then I will let you know if I find any useful tools to do so with. Snails, I love them. Used to collect them in buckets out of my nan's garden because they ate her plants. I like snails too. Slugs, however, not as cool. When they don't have the home with them, they're just not as cool. So yeah, snails are cool. I quite like, you know, the little tiny ones, and then they usually leave their shell. You usually find them, the shell alone. They're very, very cool. Snails are just, you know, land shellfish, aren't they really? They're quite cool. Some books you enjoyed reading. I'm a terrible reader, Fernie. I don't read that much at all. My favourite book I've ever read is The Count of Monte Cristo. That's an amazing story. Could be a good one for book club, actually. Count of Monte Cristo. It's very long and very heavy, but it is honestly one of the best stories I think I've ever read, and best hero redemptions that I've ever read. It's a very, very cool story. When I was a kid, I used to love the Beatrix Potter stories. There's also an amazing movie with Renee Zellweger where she plays Beatrix Potter. I believe the movie's called Miss Potter. If you don't know who Beatrix Potter is, she was a woman who was an author and made these children's books, but she was an illustrator as well, and all these little characters that are very renowned, especially if you're from the UK or England particularly, I believe. She was just amazing, and she did these little characters and the illustrations. They're all watercolour illustrations, and she really is up there with kind of children's writers like that of really sort of C.S. Lewis Carroll. You could probably even include in there like A.A. Milne, who wrote Winnie the Pooh and things like that. She is up there with all of them, and her work is incredible. But she's sort of been forgotten in the new generations, and I very much loved the Beatrix Potter books when I was a kid. So yeah, probably those. I want to get back into reading, but I don't really have the attention span for it, and I'm not particularly very good at it. So I think my best bet is something like comic books, graphic novels. I recently bought the English translation and modernised version of Black Sad, which is he's a black cat and he's a detective in the city. It's quite cool. And I know Raven recently mentioned, I believe it's called Fables, which is basically all the classic Disney princess kind of, like Red Riding Hood, all that era, but it's sort of modernised and they're brought into like the modern day and how they would live their lives if they lived in the modern day, and that looks quite cool. So I think there's a couple of things I'd like to try out, but if I read any that are very good, I will let you know for sure. Right, orchids are done. Let me move these ones along here. This is a jade plant. They are a sign of good luck, apparently. It's a succulent, so these don't need actually particularly a lot of water. These are a really good beginner plant. They're, like I say, they're really good. These can go in really direct sunlight, but what does start to happen is they start to go like this. You'll see some of the leaves will go like a little bit purple like that. Is chlorophyll, which is the thing that makes the leaves green. When it starts to sense too much sunlight or that too much heat is going to be a problem, it does basically what our skin does and starts to tan and goes darker so that it can cope with the increase in light. And I think that's what's happened with these guys, because this plant, I have two of these and you'll see the difference in them, one sec. This is what happens when you let the stems grow more and they become sort of woody. They almost develop like a bark to them like this. Whereas these are still new and fresh, as you can tell, they're green. And then what I do is I pinch this out. So any new leaves that keep coming through, I'll give you an example here, right? So I'll take this and I'll pinch out the two new leaves like that. And then what it does is it encourages more leaves to come out down here. And in time, what you will build is something that almost looks like a little mini forest, and it will be sort of a form of a bonsai. But these were little tiny, tiny trimmings that I took that were probably about this long when I took them. These were a bit longer. I'd say these were about probably that long when I took these, probably about a year ago. Whereas these were tiny, and then they've just grown over the past 3 years. Oh my God, he's stopped. Oh, okay. These have grown more and more over the past sort of 3-4 years maybe. And in time, they'll look really cool, but they take a little bit longer to develop. And as you can see, the leaves are smaller. So if you let the leaves grow out more, and you just let it kind of grow wilder, leaves are bigger and the trunk stay green. The more that you prune it, the more it puts energy down into the roots to grow. And basically this develops like a bark, and then the leaves get smaller and stuff like that. So this today is, I don't think this needs repotting. Don't think it does. Excuse me, sir, don't mind me. No, this is fine. This was just like some makeshift soil that I had, and I put a bunch of sand in it because, like I said, these are succulents. So they basically draw moisture out of the air as well to stay alive. That's why their leaves are so thick, and they actually hold a lot of water in their leaves, not necessarily their roots. But it's dry. This needs a water, I know that for sure. But I think just a little bit of some pruning. And it will always look a little bit bare when you first start doing it, and you sort of think, oh God, have I made a bollocks here? But in time, it makes the plant stronger. It's the equivalent of, you know when you're growing your hair out long, and you think, oh, I don't want to take too much off of it because I'm trying to grow my hair out, but your hairdresser says, no, you need to do that because then you need to make your hair healthier. It's kind of like that. And these don't need too much, to be honest. Take away some of the under leaves that are a bit big and might be affecting the light for the others, or if they look a bit old, and just give it a clean up. But more than anything, this actually does need some plant feed. I think this could be low in magnesium and a few other kind of salts because I haven't fed the soil in a while. So when I get some, that's what I'm going to probably do in the middle of the week, but I forgot to order some for today, so oops. Like I say, it will always look a little bit bare when you first start doing it, but it really does help the plant in the long run. So they've recently ploughed the fields, and I can't tell you how many birds there are right now trying to find food in the fields. There are just swarms of birds. So what we had here was a plant that's trying to build a root at the edge of a new bunch of leaves. So that's not a bad sign, but it's a sign that bit needs to go so it can put energy back down into the roots of the plant as opposed to trying to build new roots. Okay, so it's going to look a little bit bare, but what I'm going to do, like I say, is I'm going to give this a good drenching of water. I might even take some of this out. And I'm going to fill it up with some of the soil that I've got elsewhere, because this is a nice sandy mix, but it might be a little bit dry for it. Okay, get some more for that in a minute. And then this one here, so you can see these are kind of a bit top heavy, but these are struggling to stay up. So I'm going to take some of these bottom leaves off, so it can take, instead of having to send energy to these leaves, instead it will send it up to the shoots and down to the roots. So that's what I'm going to do here with this one today. It's a patience thing that I've learned. When I first started like working with plants and stuff, I was kind of too scared to do anything. But plants are a lot stronger than you think they are. They can handle a lot, and you just have to, as long as you're, giving them the right living conditions, they'll always sort of bounce back, really. Just, there we go. So as you can see here, strong root system, but these guys need a little bit more space. And what I'll show you here as well, and this is a good sign of this, this is a sign that you need to rebury your plants in the soil a bit deeper, especially with something like a succulent, is if you see there's like a little white thing sticking out there, that's where it's trying to grow a new root. So basically what it's saying to you is, I want it to be buried up to like here, so that this can become the new root system here. So where it would previously grow a stem, it's now going to try and start growing roots. Some are a bit smaller and struggling a little bit, but that's okay. And just basically pull up, terrain, pull up, sorry. You just pull up like this until you feel like a little natural bit of resistance. And what you can do as well is just dig around and see where it's stuck to. There it is. And that way you don't disrupt the roots too much. Oh, that one's doing it as well. That's trying to grow some little roots on the side as well. Lovely stuff. And some of this soil I'm going to put in there. And what I want to get is some like fine gravel or something to kind of dress the top of the pots, because I think it looks nicer, but I haven't been able to find any, or any that's cost effective at this point. And then this, which was the soil from the other one, is a bit sandier. Sandier? Sandy! That's a Grease reference, just in case no one guessed why I did that. Okay. That should offer some better drainage, I think. Right, let's create a little bit of space. And what I am going to go and do, in the meantime, is get the hose ready, because I'm going to wet the soil before I put it in. Right. That's it. Oh, it's cold. Jesus, why does it feel like winter? What is going on? This is very cakey, this soil. More sand needed, I think. It's cold. It's cold. It's cold. It's so cold. So I'm going to stack these in like this. So, ooh, steady on. Put them like this. Make sure where it wants those new roots that they're under the new soil, where I'm going to be putting the new soil in, so that's fine. So I'm going to sort of bunch them up like this. I'm realising being a human would be much easier if I had 10 hands. Start getting some soil in. And then what I do is I've sort of, if I get an example, say that's the stem, like this. I sort of go like this, and then I push down, but also supporting from the underside, so you don't break the roots. So that's what I'm doing here, is just sort of picking up, and then pushing down like that. And you do that with all 5 of these. And they will perk up once you put them in the soil. So after a couple of days, when they're rooted, they'll pick up a bit more. Got to do a bit of clean up because I've run out of soil. can do as well is put sort of stones in there to prop them up. If you want to guide them in a certain direction, you can put a stone in like that. Helps them lean a little bit. One of my hairs has got caught in it, there we go. That should give these the pick-me-up that they need. And then in time, I'll start pinching them out like I do with these. Get a little bit more soil. Sorry if the table's wobbling a little bit. There's not much I can do, I'm afraid. It's on wheels. There we go. Not particularly impressive, but in time, as they get bigger and stronger, they will be. And what I'm going to do is get some more stones to put on the top to kind of guide them where I want to go. I want you to lean that way. And I want you to lean this way. Watering. Let me show you how I do some watering. Watering with a plant like this, you want good drainage. So, I put it onto mist mode. And I do this first to get any of the soil off the leaves. And I want it just drains away there. So you'll sort of leave it so there's a little bit of water, and then after about 5-10 seconds it will start to drain through, and then you kind of go again. And then that will drain through. And then what you should see is if you hold it up, this is dripping off from around the edge, but it should in time start to drip through on the underside. And that's usually a sign the water's running through, and then that's not going to get waterlogged at the bottom. So that's the main thing. It's always more complicated if you're planting directly into a pot. If you have one of those little plastic pots, it's much easier to make sure you don't overwater. But there we go. Move you over here. Just went to get my other plants. God, I've been out here an hour. Just went to get my other plants. This is Spike. Oh, there's a wasp. Oh, this is Spike, and I need to show you Spike's children, as I've already taken samples of Spike, and I'll show you what Spike is growing into in a minute. I don't give these a name, but I do with the orchids. One's called Olivia, one's called Violet, and the other one I called Eustace. And I can't remember which one was which, so we'll just have to wait for them to flower to remember. Make sure the dirt is off. And that should start to trickle through. And a little bit more. Lovely stuff. That'll do. Now, this is another money/jade plant, but it has a different name. And I'm not 100% sure what it is. So when I find it, I'll put it on the screen. But this is another one. Now this is Ernie. This is Ernie. I bought him for about, I honestly think it was about £3. And this, you look pretty healthy actually, Ernie. I could do with putting you in a bigger pot, but again, I don't have one. So we're just gonna, to be honest with you, a little bit of cleanup, you're all right. For now, probably in a couple of months I'll repot you, but for now you're fine. So this is the same as the ones that you just saw, but instead of leaves, they grow these sort of tubular things. And it almost looks like coral. This is also a succulent. Same with this, you don't really need to worry about over or under watering it. It just kind of keeps going somehow. Water you, Ernie. Can you just see that? See how it drips down and hydrates the soil? So that's what you're just looking for, is to that to all go the same colour roughly, but it's not sitting in water. Almost. Pretty much. And you'll see it will start to drip out from underneath. This should start dripping through. And what you also want, by the way, you see this pot, right? There's like a centimetre dip at the bottom. These are quite good because if you have a smaller plant than this, you can put gravel at the bottom and then you put the plant in with the soil, and then you make sure that you don't get root rot because there's like always a gap at the bottom. So that's what I should be doing, but I haven't got any bigger pots, so I really do need to get some pots actually now that I think about it. Okay, right, that's that done. Did you lot have any other questions? That's right, this is going in the wash anyway. This is spike. I don't actually remember the name of this plant species, so again, I'll put it on the screen. These are really cool. These are also pretty easy to take care of. They're stripy as well, look. Stripy. And all this needs is a little bit of pruning, some old twigs and branches of this. And I've had this for about 4 years, and it's been great. So, love these plants. Just gonna, technically, you can put some rooting powder on there and grow another plant, which is quite cool. I have got plants coming out of my eyes, so, well, not out of my eye, that's just an expression. I don't actually have plants coming out of my eyes. But this, there we go, that's basically an old branch, and you just clear those out as and when you need to. But otherwise, that's all good. Really, really healthy root system. Again, this needs repotting, but really healthy roots. It's almost getting to the point where this pot is way too small for it. But we've got a few more months, and in that meantime, I'll get a new one. And then we'll let this guy level up and go again. Right, watering. This, because the soil's quite tight, I don't worry about what, like, this is just on the shower function, and this is fine. It's probably going to be running through quite a lot, because there's not a lot of space in this plant. But what you can also do, something like this, with a plant like this, is fill the pot up, dunk it in there, and then it will drink it up from the bottom. You just can't leave it in there for too long. So a minute or two, and then you pull it out. So that's what I'll do with that. And while that's doing that, I will show you the little off cuttings that I took of spike about a year ago. So these were probably that big when I took them. They're about that big. And now they're huge and creating little off cuttings of their own. So this is spike, and this is spike 2. So really this is spike, and this is tyke. 1 and 2. I'm gonna pull that out. Come on. Seeing a little bit of fruit fly in there. It won't affect the plant, but it will be annoying to have in a room. But I've only seen 2. And they may have just landed on that after it's been outside, so not too worried. There we go. You don't really need to get rid of the old ones too much. They kind of just really dry up when they're completely done. A bit like that. So you don't need to worry too much, but if I notice one that's sort of sticking out a little bit, then that's what I do. But otherwise, all good. Give you a water as well. I'm actually going to do this with this one. I'm going to fill this up. Let that just soak in there for a minute. So, make sure there's not too much water sitting in there. That's fine. To be honest with you, I water these probably once every 2 weeks, if that. And they've been fine. They've never showed me any problems. Again, these probably all need a little bit of plant feed, but I currently don't have any, so if and when I do that, I'll let you know. And that's pretty much the end of the collection for now. But these little guys, I might put these in a pot, or I might just put this there, because if they haven't grown for a long time, I highly doubt they're going to do so now. So, let that drip. I'm just happy it didn't rain. I really thought it was going to. A little bit of water in the bottom is never a problem, so that's fine. Now it's just for the orchids. I don't think I need that anymore. That was previously to keep it straight in the in the pot, and I don't think I need it. Let's just clear my workbench a little bit. There we go. Right, orchids. Go back to the beginning. Right. Ooh, slippery. I'm going to do the same thing with these guys and basically fill up one bowl, give them a dunk, and then let them drain. as I think that's the best way of doing it. Dunky wonky. And a little bit on the top. Let it sit in there just for a minute or so, and then I'll swap them out. And that's pretty much it. I'm trying to think if there's any plants that I really want to get in the future. I think succulents are just the easiest. So that's the jade plant and the other sort of one with tubes that I showed you earlier. They're just the easiest I find to take care of. I'd like to get some cactuses, but all the ones I've seen in the shop don't look great at the moment, so I'm waiting to find the right one. And as and when I do, if you want me to, I can do something like this again and let you know, because I find this quite fun, to be honest. So, let that completely drain out. Glug, 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 glug. It won't be long before it gets too cold out here that I won't be able to do any gardening. And then let's go. And then we're pretty much done. Do you guys have any other questions while that's sitting there? Oh, Emily's typing. All right, I'll let Emily talk. Wildest garden theories, like how talking to plants help them grow. See, I think it does have an effect because I think everything is a living, conscious thing to some degree. So I think it does have an effect. But I'm pretty sure there's a study that said something along the lines of they took plants and they to some of them spoke positively and to some they spoke negatively. And the ones they spoke negatively to technically performed worse as a plant. But I'm pretty sure that's a study that was done. And if it is, I think that's very interesting. So no, I do kind of believe it. I think everything's, I mean, it's a living thing. I do think energy has an effect on things. And same with an animal, right? It doesn't understand English, but it can understand if you're talking bad about it, right? It can sense an energy change in terms of mood, can sense if it's under threat. So why wouldn't a tree or a plant? I think it does. You know, to what extent, I don't know. I don't think anybody truly knows. Emily's just spamming things right now. Something you haven't done for ages but really want to get back into, and why? I want to get back outside more. I've enjoyed this, being out here today. It's been a while since I've been out sorting and tending to the plants and stuff. And I do really enjoy it once I get out here, but I also enjoy filming other kinds of videos and stuff and being stuck at my desk. But I need to push myself to get out more. Because I think stuff like this is good for me. So just generally getting outside and changing up routine. That's something I haven't done for a while. Where is your favourite place that you've ever been? Ooh. Favourite place I've ever been? In the UK? In terms of travelling abroad, I've only been to Italy and Switzerland. I went to France, but I was like 4 and I don't remember it. Italy was quite beautiful, but I was still quite young. Switzerland was lovely. Within the UK, let me think. Maybe I'll take you somewhere else as well because it's really loud. Hang on. Right. Favourite place in the UK? I love, there's a place called Hever Castle, which is the childhood home, I think, or teenage home of Anne Boleyn. It's really lovely. And they have amazing gardens there and stuff. So I really did enjoy going there when I was a kid. I'd love to go to Scotland. Edinburgh is on my list of places to go. And there's a lot of beaches up in the north of Scotland that look really, really cool. And I would like to go there at some point in time. That's on my list. I think I've sat on a spiky thing. I don't know what it is. I've got a feeling it's going to rain any second now. What's something that you've seen somebody do and thought, I want to do that? Basically a new thing you want to try. Go-karting. I really, really, really want to try go-karting. Yeah, go-karting looks cool. There's some sports I've always wanted to try rock climbing. My upper body strength is that of a disabled chipmunk. I feel in time I could get good at it. And I feel it could be a good thing for me. Rock climbing, tennis. I played tennis a little bit when I was a kid. You said new things I'd like to try. It's not new, but it's been a long, long time. So maybe I'd like to try that. But go-karting's up there. And not in like a competitive way or anything. I just want to try it because I think it looks really fun. Favourite type of creature, fictional or not, from a story you've heard or read? It's got to be a phoenix, hasn't it? I would say. I'd say phoenixes and... What's the other one called? What's that bird thing called that's in... It's in Prisoner of Azkaban, right? Bucky. Griffin? No. Is it a griffin? I can't remember. Whatever they're called. They're cool. Fictional or not? Well, if those are fictional and they're not really real, then one of those. I also think a unicorn, but Matt, you know, like a unicorn, right? It's a horse with a unicorn thing, with a horn, right? But what if you was to get like a zebra? Because zebras to me are just, I don't know, stripy horses, even though they're not, right? A zebra with a horn, I think, would look really, really cool. And there's a part of me that likes to imagine that somewhere in time. Woo, Claudie touched grass. I did. I'm touching grass, lads. I'm outside. I'm also sat next to an apple tree, and there is apples that have fallen from the tree, and they stink, and it smells like cider. It reeks. I love doing reacts and stuff, and the gaming I need to get better at, but I am really enjoying it. I just think videos like this are quite nice every now and then. I think every now and then you just need something that's not too overstimulating. And I suppose just a way you can just sit and relax, I think. And for me, lately, it's just been output for videos in terms of, you know, it's really just been react stuff, games, reacts, games, reacts, games. And I think I even forget sometimes, like the question earlier, what's something that you'd like to do more of? I think it would just genuinely be to change things up a bit, even if it still equates to content in one way or another. Just, that's why I started this channel, you know, Claudie Corner, because there was a divide in audience in terms of, there was people that just wanted reaction stuff, and there was people that didn't want either reactions to other things, like behind the scenes, they're just not interested, or other stuff, like obviously we did Klingo night and all that kind of jazz. It just doesn't land, because I think the audience has shifted, and that's a good thing in many ways. And it's going to allow me to do more with Claudie TV down the reaction avenue. But I could sense that things were a little bit closed off to, if I was to do gaming on that channel, I don't think that many people would be interested. So I wanted to kind of bring this over here to a new channel, to just try more stuff, to just do some different things. Yeah, I'm sort of happy I've done it, really. Because I've been thinking about this since really spring of this year, in terms of doing other kinds of content. It protects me as a creator to be able to branch out and do different things. But also just my sanity as a creator, to not feel too pigeonholed into one thing or another. It feels nice. So if you do, it doesn't have to be gardening or anything like that, but if you do like this kind of thing, let me know. I'm happy to kind of try stuff on this channel and see how it goes. No further questions from Patch. Is there anywhere you've seen on a picture or a video in GeoGuessr and thought, I want to go there? No, I don't think I have yet. No, as of right now, no, I haven't, but I do know Edinburgh. In terms of like in the UK, somewhere I would really like to go to is Edinburgh. The sort of the Gothic architecture really intrigues me, and I've had a friend that's gone there and they said how amazing it was. So Edinburgh is definitely on my to-do list. And I suppose what I plan to do over the next few days is record like an international GeoGuessr. I think there's a game where you can do a country streak, so you don't have to be, basically the way that you get a point and progress to the next round is not by being close, as in you got to find the street name or whatever, you just have to pick the right country. And you play until you click the wrong country and then that's it. So you have a streak of 10 or 20, or you go as long as you can go. And I think that could be fun. So maybe I'll try that for my next GeoGuessr vid and see how many of your guys' countries as subscribers and stuff. See if I can land in anywhere where you guys are. And then maybe somewhere on there will crop up. And if it does, and I think, oh, I'd like to go there, I'll let you know. I'll let you know in that video. Maybe that's a good idea. Thank you, as always, for watching. I appreciate very, very much the ongoing support and the love that I get from you guys. It's very, very sweet, and I really, 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 really do appreciate it. If you did enjoy this, do give it a thumbs up. It really helps me out, and make sure you're subscribed. If you want to get notified for stuff like this, put the notifications on. If you want to come and chat more and hang out, I'll see you in the Discord server. I'll leave that linked in the comments below. Have a lovely day. Wherever you are in the world, have a lovely, lovely day. Take care of your houseplants, and I'll see you very, very soon. Bye-bye.